segment, we've got Diva Sunny here, my little glamour puss, and we're going to talk about some of the misunderstandings about what a short sale is versus a foreclosure. They're very, very different. A short sale is when a home is worth less than what the people owe on it. So you can't just do a short sale and put something in the MLS and say, okay, well, I'm going to, market my home for $300,000 even though I owe $600. You actually have to be approved by the bank to do so. And before you're approved, you have to be behind. The bank doesn't even want to talk to you until you've gone behind 3 months. So you've got to mess up your credit, go behind 3 months, and then now the bank may or may not talk to you about taking a short sale and letting you apply for a short sale. So the banks are really reluctant to do this because they're going to have to take a huge loss on it, and they're not going to get reimbursed for this. So they're either going to just take the loss, or they're going to later go and get a judgment, a final judgment against the seller for the difference. They're not going to take the loss, that's for sure. So the seller will apply to the bank, and there's an application process and a hardship letter. Then they have to say why they think the bank should take this loss and not them, basically. And then you put it in the MLS. You got to be very careful about what's in the MLS that says short sale. It's getting much better because now they're requiring people to actually be educated about short sales before they begin to negotiate them with the lenders. But in the past, basically, what a short sale is it's going to be in the MLS, and it's going to say that this sale is subject to lender approval. So, and this is the honest to goodness truth, there was one that had $10,000 on the home, and it was a gorgeous beachfront home in Destin, and they put the list price at $10,000. That's because they can do that because it's subject to the lender's approval. No lender is going to approve $10,000. The mortgage was $3 million. Now that particular home is bank owned, as a matter of fact. It didn't sell at a short sale. But as a short sale, they can put anything for that price, and it doesn't mean that the bank has agreed to take that. So just because you see a short sale with $299, that doesn't mean that you're going to get it, and that doesn't mean the bank has said we'll take $299. You put your offer in, and the banks rarely will say, pre-approve a price and say, okay, we'll take this much. What they'll more often do is say to the listing realtor, you put it in there and get us some offers and let us look at it. So the only way you really have something, Diva Sunny had a rough night. So the only way you can really say pre-approved in there in most cases is there's been an offer, the bank has countered, and this is what they've countered at. You're going to wait anywhere up to 6 months to get an approval on a short sale. Some are a little quicker, some are a little longer, but you got to go in when you buy a short sale, put your earnest money down, and basically the seller is going to generally accept your contract. He doesn't care, he's getting out, and he's losing that balance, that huge mortgage, and then it gets submitted to the bank. Now you sit and you wait. So you have to be very careful in the contract that you don't start conducting inspections and putting money out on something that may never materialize, because a very small percentage of short sales actually go to closing. So that's what the short sales are, basically. They're hard to do. They're going to sit on your earnest money deposit for a long time, and other deals may come up. I'm not saying don't do them. I'm just saying have a clause in there to get out if you do find something better. Now let's look at a foreclosure. I ran some numbers, and since January 08, between Destin and 30A, there have been 539 foreclosures sold. That's in 2.5 years. Since January of 09, which is basically a year and a half, there's been 423 sold foreclosures. And since June 1st, which is less than a year, there's been 287. So we're on track about, there were a lot of them clearly between January and June. If there were 423, there were double the amount that there have been in these 6 months. But when you look at it, that's the same amount per year, basically. So generally, what can you expect to pay? You can expect to pay 20 to 30% less than what a property is worth. You should, on a foreclosure or a short sale. I looked up some numbers, and 0 to 49.4% decreases have been what banks have taken. The average has been 93.7% of what they're asking is what the banks are taking. So I had to look deeper. I just pulled up a couple, and I'm going to put a chart up here for you, but Whitney has had 10 foreclosure sales since June of '09, and they have sold for 79.8% of what they were asking, as opposed to Bank of America, which sold for 98% of what they were asking. So it helps to analyze what the bank's taking. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a better deal. It just means that we have to look at those trends because they're either pricing them right or they're not budging on their prices. So next segment, we're going to take a look at some general trends that have occurred and some numbers that were just released and some of my picks for the best foreclosures in the area.